Protect your car with 3W Liners all-weather floor mats. Made from durable materials like TPE and rubber, our mats are designed to withstand rain, snow, and mud with deep grooves to trap dirt and liquids. For a custom fit and advanced protection, visit 3W Liners. That's the number 3, WLINERS.com today. Unlock a world of convenience with Mully Box, your one-stop solution for personalized subscription boxes delivered right to your door. From gourmet snacks to unique finds, each box is tailored to your tastes. Experience the joy of surprises. Subscribe today at mullybox.com. That's MULLYBOX.com. This is a Rogue Media Network podcast.
BooBaes. BooBaes. Hi.
Hello, and welcome to
BooBaes.
BooBaes. That's right. We're your hosts. I'm Caitlin.
And I'm Joshua.
And today we're here to talk to you about a very sad movie.
Very sad and depressing and kind of a little funny at times, I might say. Holiday film. And Deadly Night. It's giving the videos on TikTok and stuff of the dogs where it's like when you have two different dogs and it's like one is like, all right, princess, good night, or
little
something
baby.
like that.
Yeah.
And then the other one's like, devour, eat their souls. Yeah.
That's funny.
A 1984 American slasher film directed by Charles E. Sellier Jr.
Cellier.
Sellier. Oh, okay.
I don't know. Cellier. So I just wanted to make it fancy.
And it is starring Robert Brian Wilson, Lena Quigley,
Lillian Siobhan, Chauvin, Amy Stuyvesant.
And
he played the little girl he gives the
knife to.
Gilmer McCormick was the sister.
Okay.
I think. It just said like Mother Superior number 1, sister. And like no names of anyone really.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I'm confused. But yeah, we're talking about a movie that's got a lot of sadness and it's really like Wicked, really.
Yeah, honestly.
It's about how
the misunderstood character.
System failed somebody and people turn their back on an individual and drives them to, even though Elphaba's she's not really wicked at all, really.
No.
She doesn't go on a killing spree.
But they really did like kind of create the perfect storm for this happening because of not addressing, obviously, the traumatic experience that Billy went through when he was a little kid. And honestly, too, Mother Superior just kind of being like downright kind of just awful.
Yeah. She was
and being really harsh in her punishment and her nurturing, if you would call it that, skills. And so, and then also, too, the fact that I guess nobody really had any like care or understanding or cautiousness or like when it came to like even making him put on like obviously the Santa suit and stuff, or like even the sister, like why would she find a job for him at a toy store?
Yeah,
knowing
that was
Christmas,
what I wrote.
Yeah,
I was like, maybe this wasn't the best idea. I don't know, but
of all places for him to work. Yeah,
because they're going to do something for Christmas. It's a toy store.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It's like
that
he needed to be like a janitor somewhere, like or like somewhere right there are like minimal people, no office parties, and like no children, no Santa.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Um,
janitor
but
at a bank
literally, there you go.
or
And
something.
so it takes place over a course of time because we have some time jumps. We start at the beginning, which is the 70s, right?
Yeah, we get
Um,
Christmas Eve 1971, and we start
mm,
off with our title card, and it's super 80s.
yeah,
Um, we get the Silent Night on a little Christmas wreath. As we like pan in on it, it gets real big, and then blood.
Deadly Night. Yeah, and then we get very 80s music, and I like the little children, very hauntingly singing Silent Night.
Mhm.
And then we cut to the diegesis of like it's 1971 Christmas Eve. We have a family in a car, and we're listening we're just basically hearing the radio go over how it's Christmas time. The hoopity hoopla of like the usual Christmas stuff is going on.
And mom's
Um,
saying, "Santa's gonna bring you a big surprise tonight."
mhm.
And it's like,
Oh,
"Yeah,
oh,
he is."
and also how like the times changed because like the baby in the front
Was in the
seat,
front seat. I know, I wrote that. That was my next note, was like,
nobody had any
wild that
time.
this baby is in the front seat.
It was made me feel like, is this like the 60s? Like set like it felt the
I
50s, like
mean,
I guess
71,
7,
so it's still pretty early, but
but like yeah,
I
like
mean, I feel like
no,
parents were doing this shit in the 80s too.
that's true, I guess. And then nobody had seatbelts on whatsoever, not even the parents in the front.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I'm like, wait, when were seatbelts invented? When have we looked this up before? I feel like we have.
I don't know.
Maybe
I
I
don't
have.
remember.
But anyways, yeah, they're all driving, and she's bringing up Santa, and they're on their way to a mental facility because they're gonna go visit their grandfather or their.
Grandpa.
It was the dad's dad, right?
Yeah.
Or was it the okay? Because she also called him dad at a
Yeah.
certain point. Even though I know in-laws can call their parents mom and dad sometimes, but like I don't know. Like my brother-in-laws don't call my mom and dad mom and dad.
Yeah.
Like they call
In some
them.
cultures,
Yeah.
like in Korean culture, kind of a lot of the times you'll refer to them as mom or dad,
Okay,
your in-laws'
gotcha.
parents.
Like as like, but like in like like in Korean language,
Yeah,
right?
you would say like
They
oma,
okay, gotcha, gotcha. What's that? What do you call dad?
appa,
Oh, appa. Okay, cool. Um, and
appa,
so
araboji.
is
Appa
that
is like the short version.
the short version?
Instead of like
Um,
father, it's like
mhm,
dad.
that's cute. Um, and so
Andrew
we
always
have
goes, "Oh, appa," when he answers the phone for his dad.
what is it called? Is it a ama
Oh
for
yeah,
mom?
or he'll go, "Oh, oma,"
Uma.
and
That's
he
cute.
always starts with the instead of like. Sometimes he'll say "여보세요," which is how you
Hello.
say hello, and like only for when you're answering the phone.
Okay.
Like whenever you're saying hello to someone in person, you would say "안녕하세요,"
Uh huh.
"안녕하세요," or if
What
it's
was the
on the
other one?
phone, you say "여보세요."
Yobaseo.
Yeah, 여보세요. So Andrew and I,
Yobaseo.
whenever we answer the phone, he'll say 여보세요, and I'll say 여보세요,
That's cute. And
and
then
then that's the only Korean I know.
you know more than that. Well,
No,
on the seatbelt thing, it was invented in 1885, apparently. So they have
1885. Yeah,
no excuse, no
they
excuse.
knew these
Um,
things were death machines.
and so we're talking. That's not the only thing that's going to be a death machine because we're talking
Yep,
about heading to. We're at the facility now, and Grandpa is kind of in this vegetative
trance.
state, trance. Yeah, he's not talking to them, but the doctor wants to talk to mom and dad, so he takes them into the room. And also, I just didn't understand why they thought like, yeah, we'll just leave him here,
I
like
know, like they
little
bring the
Billy.
baby. I was half expecting them to like set the baby in Grandpa's lap.
And it's like, okay,
Just
we'll
be
be right
like,
back.
"We'll be
Yeah.
right back." Yeah, but they didn't do that, thankfully. But yeah, they leave poor little Billy with Grandpa,
And
and
I knew it. As soon as they were leaving him, I was like, "Oh, no. Grandpa's
Grandpa
about
gonna
to."
wake up.
I was like, "Grandpa's gonna scare this little boy somehow."
Grandpa's our little harbinger of doom.
He is, because he just looks over at little Billy and just kinda smiles, and then he's just like, "Have you been naughty or nice?" or whatever,
Yeah,
'cause
he
what is
says Christmas Eve is the scariest time of the year because Santa only brings toys to those kids who have been good all year. And then he says, but those who have been naughty, he punishes.
severely.
Yeah.
Um,
And
and
he tells
then
them, you better run for your life. And I was
mhm,
like, damn, how
and
grandpa know all this?
it's so funny, like, whenever the parents come back out and he's just like, "Oop," and just, like, goes back to normal, and
Yeah.
then they leave, and, of course, Billy in the car is just like, I don't want Santa Claus to come tonight because I'm fucking terrified."
Grandpa told me. And mom's like,
Yeah.
Grandpa's nothing but a crazy old fool. And then
Yeah,
he was
and
like,
then
naughty.
I know, yeah, for real, he was like, you're gonna be on the naughty list." I Okay, the only redeeming point for that mom for me so far is that she did believe Billy, because she was like, "Well, why would Billy lie?" Because at first I
Yeah.
thought, "Damn, he's gonna start saying this to them, and the first thing they're gonna think of is like, stop telling lies, because like obviously your grandpa don't talk." But then they kind of start, being like, "Okay, well, should we call the hospital? Like, because why would he say that to him? Maybe we should." And then before they can even um, get too far, or no, 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 sorry. They're talking about all of that, and Billy's really scared. At the same time, we cut to a Santa Claus, who is at a gas station.
Yes.
Hmm.
And he's, checking out, but then all of a sudden he pulls out a gun and
Hmm.
is like, give me all your money. And then this guy has the great idea to just over $31 too.
Yeah, he
Like
should have just gave him the
he
money.
should just gave him the money.
But
But
also, even though he was pulling that gun out so slow, like so, like yeah.
yeah, and like he could clearly see the cash register. So the guy pulls the gun on him or tries to, but Santa sees it and shoots him in the stomach before he can like successfully pull the gun out. And
Yeah.
then he isn't dead yet, so he goes to try to shoot him again. And then Santa sees this as he's grabbing the money from the cash register and shoots him dead.
Mhm,
Shoots
in the
him an
chest
additional
and then
time
in
in
the
the stomach
head.
and then in the head. Yeah.
Yeah,
And then he gets outside and he's like, oh, for $31. And I was like, wow, you just killed someone
over
over
$31.
$31.
Yeah.
Which I mean, I know $31 back in 1971 was a lot more money than $31 is today, but like
I
still,
yeah,
it's not that much
but
more.
I guess that's what you get when you're working with the criminal,
Yeah.
a hardened criminal. And maybe I don't know, maybe just like Alphaba, he has some really tragic backstory, or just like Billy, he has some really tragic backstory. But yeah,
Yeah, it
unfortunately
still
for
doesn't excuse. I mean,
yeah, unfortunately for the store clerk, didn't work out in his favor at all.
yeah.
Um, how much? It was $31, you said?
Uh-huh. How much is that in today's money?
Or
64.
is that what you're guessing?
Yeah.
Okay,
150.
I'm looking it up right now.
I'll stick with 150.
It would have been 200. It would be $241 is basically what he stole.
Well, that's a pretty good amount.
Yeah. You know what? The you
Not to
can't.
kill someone.
But yeah, 241.62 is basically roughly what we're talking about. If I would be happening today, which I could see that could cover someone's phone bill and buy groceries a little bit, honestly. So I
Yeah.
could see someone, if they're desperate enough, killing someone over it.
Yeah.
Um, Unfortunately, but yeah, he takes off, and we see that he leaves in a red car, and then we cut to Billy's family, and they're driving, and we see that unfortunately, they're coming up on the same Santa Claus that we know killed the clerk, who's
Yep.
having some car trouble. Or honestly, I
I
think he was
think
just
they're
he was out of
faking it.
gas, right?
Or
Yeah, because
yeah, out of gas
he
or just faking it and wanted to kill more people.
maybe, yeah. And so unfortunately for them, because they're good people, they pull over thinking he might need some help, and it's also the 70s, I guess. And nobody's there in miles, and
Yeah,
he would
also
have,
wild that they offered to give this stranger a ride with their 2 kids in the car.
yeah. I don't know.
I
Different
mean, that
times
was
is
the
all I'm gonna.
70s. Yeah. Like, people hitchhiked like it was no big deal back then, but that's also why there were so many murders. I mean, there's so many murders still today, but, like, people got away with murder hardcore with
Yeah.
hitchhiking.
Well, nowadays there's so many cameras everywhere. You can't really get away with anything because
Yeah.
they can pull up CCCT footage of you like walking somewhere, or just like right now with the whole Well, granted, that dude's still free. The healthcare United killer,
Oh, yeah.
he's still
The
loose. But
smelly guy.
yeah, that's wild. Baby, he's getting baby girled, and we have
Protect your online privacy with NordVPN. Browse securely, access content from anywhere, and keep your data safe with military-grade encryption. Whether at home or on the go, NordVPN ensures your digital freedom. Stay secure. Download NordVPN today at nordvpn.com. That's NORDVPN.com. Get paid faster with Bill, the easiest way to send, receive, and manage your payments. No more delays, no more hassle. Whether you're a freelancer or a business, Bill makes payments seamless and secure, simple, fast, and reliable. Sign up today at Bill.com.
unfortunately for them, him coming up to the car and being like, can you help a fella out? And then they're like, can we give you a ride? And he's just like, actually, pew 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 pew, and then like pulls
Yeah.
out the gun. But they just start to back off, and like, why would he? I wouldn't have like. Why didn't he just like run him over?
Yeah.
Like the way he
Yeah, he
reversed
went in
it,
reverse and definitely gave the guy an opening for
him
shooting
to get
him.
shot. Yeah, and the
Yeah.
dad was obviously
And
shot. It got in this whole crossfire thing because then they're like in the ditch, and then the mom's there, and then Billy just runs out of the car because he's a little kid and
Billy,
he's
yeah, leaves his
terrified.
family immediately.
Oh, he is just
Billy
like,
was
I'm
like,
out.
"Bye, bitches." But then, yeah, unfortunately, from the little, what is that called? A ditch. From the
Yeah,
little ditch and behind the shrubs, he watches his parents get murdered by the Santa Claus. He sees the Santa almost sexually assault his mother,
yeah.
um, and like rip her top open. So there were a
I
lot of
think
boobs in this movie.
oh, there were 3 sex scenes, lots of boobs, and I think he would have essayed her too if she wouldn't have, like,
Slapped
he
him.
slapped him, yeah, and then that's what kind of sent him over the edge, and then
Yeah.
he slit her throat, um, and then, yeah, we have a little 3-year time jump after this incident, and it's now 1974, and we are at like a school for boys, an orphanage. Oh my god, yeah, an orphanage. And
Yeah.
we're now with Billy, and he is getting in trouble, right, by Mother Superior.
Yeah,
Oh,
because they were like, draw you a Christmas scene. And he
yeah,
draws Santa and Santa's reindeer getting axed up and shot with like bow and arrows and stuff.
makes
Because
sense.
he's got a lot of trauma surrounding Santa Claus.
Yeah,
And sister is like picking up on it. She's like, I told you, like, this is proof, like, that he still knows what happened. Mother Superior's like, no, he's fine. Like,
yeah.
he can't remember that. And she's like, what the fuck do you mean he can't remember it? Like, look at this thing.
The memories are obviously here, like ready to be unlocked and all that stuff. And she really is
And he has
advocating
such
for
a
him.
visceral reaction every time. Like,
Oh
he's
yeah.
put around the Santa Claus or around Christmas or hears the words ho 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 or anything, he just like buckles. And it's
Yeah.
like, you can't honestly tell me that this man doesn't have any, or this boy doesn't have anything associated with like trauma associated with Santa Claus. Suki.
Yeah, it's very apparent, but Mother Superior has her methods and she believes that her way is the right way. And so she like orders Billy to stay locked up in his room. And then we see that the other sister, goes over to his bedroom and she's like, you know what? Like, I don't agree with Mother Superior. I think you should be out with the kids. Go play with them. I think that'll be do you good. And she sends him out. But of course, because like wrong time, Billy unfortunately starts to hear um
Moaning.
these two teenagers moaning, and he goes to like see what's happening, and he goes to one of the rooms and
I
peeps through
thought it was going to be like one of the nuns and a priest.
Oh yeah, that's kind of
And
yeah. I didn't think it was gonna be like two teenagers. I guess I was also thinking like it was like older people. I guess, but that is
yeah.
yeah. Can you
And
imagine a nun and the head guy, whatever the
yeah.
pope, the pope? No, I'm just kidding.
The
Um,
Pope. The Pope
and
lives
then
at this orphanage.
he's visiting, and so then Billy unfortunately is seeing these two people doing it, but unfortunately for him, like Mother Superior comes and is right behind him, and she's like, oh my God, what do get out of here? And then she goes into the
You
room and then starts
demons.
beating, yeah, and starts beating the kids with the belt. It's kind of her go-to. And then she
Yeah.
goes outside and she's like, oh well, the one nun is like, hey, like I was the one that told him to go out of his room, and Suki, and then
He's here.
Mother Superior is basically just like, stay out of this, stupid. And then she's just like,
Yeah.
Billy, what did you see? And he's like, nothing. And she's like, do you know what they were doing? And he's like, no, I don't.
No.
And she's like, okay, well, that's good. And then he's like, you know what? You got out of your room. And that's naughty. So you need to be punished, essentially, which sucks for him.
Yeah. And she says punishment is absolute, punishment is necessary, and punishment is good, which
Mhm.
he brings back up later when he's killing Pamela.
Yeah.
But as he was like watching through the keyhole of the sex scene, he started having flashbacks because of the
Oh, yeah.
boobs. And
Of his mom.
flashbacks to his mother. So it's like clearly this kid has PTSD. And
He's affected.
I mean, no one can like get into his brain and like understand that for him, but like it's just so sad to me how like even when I was diagnosed with PTSD, I was like, what do you mean I have PTSD? I haven't been to war. And that was
Yeah.
in like 2015
Yeah.
or 2014 or something. And I was like, I like still didn't have an understanding of like that PTSD is for like lots of things,
Yeah.
any traumatic event.
Mhm.
But like in my mind, I was like, oh, like you only get that if you've been to like, if you've served and you've been to war
Yeah.
and stuff. And so like, I don't know. It's just wild to me how far we've come and how little people knew of PTSD back in the day.
For sure, and how little or how many people went untreated and just sort of like called crazy, written off, or
Yeah.
weren't dealt with properly, and then they went to do
Crazy
probably
old
bad things,
fool.
and they probably did do things, or probably did go and commit maybe whatever type of illegal activities, because it's just like nobody cares enough
Yeah.
to care for them, so why would they care for the rest of the world? I wouldn't.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, and so she takes Billy inside and she beats his butt, she beats his ass,
Yeah.
with the
Spanking
belt,
him and
spanks him at least 6 times, I think it was. And
yeah.
then
And that's a thick belt too that she's using. Like, damn. And I was like, man, even though it's the other sister's fault, like she's the one that said he could leave.
Well, really should have been done, and she should have brought that sister in, and she should have done that to this sister and had Billy
Just
watch.
thanked her.
And then had Billy watched, it'd
That
been like,
sounds like more trauma for
yeah,
him.
exactly. Because then she would have been like, this is all your fault, Billy. This is what you do to people.
Yeah.
And then,
Oh no.
and then so Mother Superior does that and tells him, all right, go to bed and stay there. Meanwhile, it's only like fucking 11 a.m. But he goes into his bed, and then we basically, oh, he's having
We kind of,
nightmares. Yeah.
yeah, we flash towards it being the evening time because then all the other kids are in their pajamas at this point.
Yeah.
But he's having
Yeah.
nightmares about his parents and wakes up and is so scared and tries to seek comfort in the adults. And Mother Superior ties him to the bed.
Yeah.
Which I was like, Jesus, lady. Like,
yeah.
It's just, and the thing is that they're not like wrong. Like, this is how kids were treated in a lot of the times, especially when they're like
an orphanage.
Yeah. And stuff.
Yeah.
Like, it's really sad.
It is sad. And the whole movie kind of stays on that note, unfortunately, because he's just tied up and he's obviously terrified and, cannot cope with any of the traumatic shit that happened to him. And obviously, losing his mom and dad the way that he did. And we cut to the next morning, and it's now Christmas Day. And the kids are all like opening presents and stuff. I love how Mother Superior, she's just like, you're supposed to be grateful, but all I can see is just like, I don't even remember. Greed. Yeah. So I'm like, they're literally like 5.
They're
like,
kids.
They're children. You evil bitch. Yeah. And so, anyways, then do we time jump after this Christmas Day?
Well, yes, but before that,
she makes
like
him
sit on Santa's lap, which I was like, that's tortuous.
Yeah,
like that's
tortuous.
just straight up torture. Yeah,
I like the word tortuous.
Tortuous. That's what I wrote in my notes.
No, it's giving.
It feels like a fake word, though.
No, it's giving wicked. Congratulations.
Oh yeah.
And all the like fake words, like the words they would use.
Words
like
that they had in there.
one letter off. They would be like one vowel off from like a real word.
I wanted to like write all of them down and then start incorporating them in my everyday speech.
We'll have to look them up. What else? Oh yeah. But yes, and then because they're making him sit on Santa's lap, and he's obviously freaking out. He punches at Santa. Also, this little kid is strong, but he punches Santa in the face, and he punches him. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and I was
Santa
like, "Oh my god!" And he was like, "What the hell's that kid's problem?"
Yeah, and that's all we get from that, because he runs upstairs and his little brother's like, Billy, and Mother Superior goes after him.
And remember that one point whenever like they were outside and the little kid's like, your brother's a nutcase, that's what.
Yeah.
And it's like, geez, he's like 8.
Well, the kids repeat. Yeah, I know, right? Because the kids repeat what they hear from the adults, so they probably, have all heard them talking really like crappily about him. Braverism. The braverism. That's the word. Got confusifying.
That's right.
That's all I can. Degreenify. Devastated. Galindified. Linguification. I remember that one.
Oh yeah, I do remember linguification too.
Yeah. And
the linguification of tortuous.
Mm-hmm. Congratulations. Disgustified. Hideoutious. And horrendable. And moodified. He's all moodified. He's thinking. Okay, anyway, sorry. Off topic, everybody. She's so cute.
We both watched Wicked yesterday.
She's so cute. Oh, the
She's just
baby.
chilling.
She's just a baby.
She is. She's a big
Aw.
baby.
Where's the other baby?
She's probably sleeping in the sun.
Oh.
The sun came out, so she loves to just lay in her she has a little pouch next to the window.
Yeah, and so she just
So
gets in
she's
it.
probably laying in that.
And so back to the movie. It's now, we got our 10-year time jump. It's now 1984.
Spring of
And
1984.
and we have not Mother Spirit. We have the sister who we never get a name of. What was her name? Sister
Sister.
Just sister. Ow. She is taking what's his face? Billy. Well, she's talking to a store owner, Mr. Sims of the toy store, and she's asking for a job for Billy, and he doesn't want to give it to Billy at first because he thinks that Billy, I guess, is like like a scrawny little guy, I guess. But
Yeah.
then she's like, oh, there he is right now. And so she brings him in. And he's 18 years old at this point, and he's like buff and like
Yeah, he's a big old boy.
yeah, he looks like he can definitely handle like heavy weight and lifting boxes and stuff. And Mr. Sims like looks like he's kind of got the hots for him at first because he's just like,
I
oh,
know.
he can start immediately. Like he can start right now. Yeah.
Yeah. And then later on too, there was a few moments where I was like, it kind of seems like he's into him.
Coming on to him, like when he was drunky.
Yeah.
And so he gets a job at this toy store. And so it's basically, we get a little montage of like him starting his new job. Everything is going really good. He's really good at his job. And what it gives to me is that like he is basically like so traumatized and like paranoid about having to not be naughty and be good, so that way he doesn't get on the naughty list. Because like he does everything as he should. He's like a really star employee. And then
I think it probably has something to do with like Catholic guilt too, that Mother Superior like instilled in him.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Streaming now on Peacock. Paris Hilton and Nicole Richie are back.
That's hot. Loves it.
For a show-stopping reunion that will prove putting on an opera is anything but simple.
We're really good at this.
One thing's for sure, they won't be upstaged.
Good to have you back. Come on, we've got a show to do.
Paris and Nicole, The Encore, a 3-part reunion special. Streaming now, only on Peacock.
Come to me.
Focus Features invites you to succumb to the darkness.
Nosferatu.
From director Robert Eggers comes a masterpiece of horror.
He is coming. This creature is a force more powerful than evil. It is death itself.
Nosferatu. Rated R. Under 17 nanometer without parent. Only in theaters Christmas Day. Special engagements in Dolby and IMAX.
And to also convey and show the drastic change that does happen whenever it does. Now we get to Christmas time and it's the holidays, and he is getting triggered now because obviously the first thing that we see is that they pull out the banner and it's like Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and the Santa Claus is in the middle, and he has this visceral reaction, this very physical reaction. And then we have all these little moments where like he's now getting triggered throughout the day with Christmas time, approaching, and Christmas Day. And I think we have a nightmare as he's laying in bed and he's, his full adult self.
Yeah, it's a wet dream turned nightmare. Because he was
that's right,
like almost sex with Pamela, and his ass was super hairy.
His ass was so hairy, compared to the rest of his body,
which is like smooth as a baby's
hair.
bottom, and then his ass was like so hairy. I was like, that's one hairy ass.
It really was.
But then it was like, wet dream, because he was like going with Pamela, and then it's her nightmare whenever he has like PTSD. Suki, sorry, this is like an earthquake coming through because she's like
she sounds like Godzilla
all over the table. Suki.
What's
But yeah,
that?
she has, because of the boobs and stuff again, he gets triggered and it turns into a nightmare, and he wakes up and then he's back in the corner again, just like he was when he was a little kid after punching Santa in the face. And he's like, I'm sorry, I'll be good. And I don't know, I was just like, this kid's PTSD is next level.
No, yeah, for sure. Well, it's very deep in him, and he's also, it's one thing to have PTSD around something that's like, uh, uh, uh,
Oh, thank you for
that
those
like Christmas
kisses.
itself is that he can't escape it, especially this time of year because it is everywhere that he will go. Even if he were
Yeah.
to like even be in his house, he would have to like not even turn on his TV or radio or anything because that's what anybody and everybody is talking about. So it's just it's really inescapable, and it's really I would assume like probably especially because he has had no like uh, therapy and no mental help at this point. Like they never even specifically even told him, I guess, what happened with his family, right? Because Mother Superior, when he was little, mentioned that like he doesn't even know, like
Yeah.
so I'm assuming
Yeah.
that
I don't
nobody's
think
even
addressed it.
yeah, exactly. So he's just like having all these things happen and he probably doesn't even know why. And like you know what I mean? And so it's just it's unfortunate. And so he ends up we get
Or like he does
this
know why, but like there's no like clearly he remembers it, but like there's
yeah.
no like
There's
no
nobody there to
one's
help him connect the
confirming it.
dots and to
Yeah.
cope with how do we
So he
now
probably just
deal with
feels
all
like
that?
he's crazy.
Exactly. No, yeah, and that's what I mean. Like that's why he's like probably just thinks he's just like psychotic. Um or and then we have him now. We have the lady. She never gets a name that I can pick up, but she's talking to Mr. Sims, and she's telling him that they need a Santa, right? Because
Mhm.
someone broke their leg skiing or something like that, and
Yeah,
so
ice
they
skating, I think it was.
yeah they both come up with the horrendous idea of putting Billy in the Santa costume.
My first thought would have been to put Mr. Sims in it because he at least had like a slight belly.
He looked like
And
it. Yeah,
yeah, and is
Billy was
older. Like
hot.
Santa's yeah, Billy was hot. So
Billy
it's
was
not
hot.
like Billy was like had like a six pack and a baby face and like he wasn't meant to be Santa.
He just didn't have a Santa build. He didn't have a Santa look, and even like even with the beard on, you could still tell that it was a really young guy underneath.
A
Like
really
Santa
young
is
man, yeah.
obviously an older person, and so or at least depicted as an old guy, old jolly Saint Nick. And so then yeah, they have him in this outfit, and you can tell like he's just kind of like trying to just like like just kind of
He's so stiff and yeah, he
uncomfortable, and
very uncomfortable.
it's really doing something to him in his mind right now that they have no idea about,
Yeah.
and they're just like, well, it looks great, you look good, this is gonna be perfect. And
Oh,
so
great.
then we cut to
Holly
him
jolly.
being Santa, and my note is like, oh crap, Billy's being weird as Santa because that little girl is trying to get off his lap and she's like crying and pouting, and he's like, little girl, you better stop doing that because if you don't, I'm gonna have to punish you
I'm gonna punish
severely.
you. Yeah. And I was like, oh no, Billy.
Yeah, and the
You're
moms are all
traumatizing
like,
more kids.
the moms oh throughout the whole movie. And then it's like there's like new origin stories forming because first you got the little girl, and then you have
And then
this
the little
girl,
boy at the end.
the little boy at the end, and then the girl who's being watched by Denise.
Naughty.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so we have the the parents, the moms being like, oh my god, he's so good with kids, right? Meanwhile, they don't know that he's like threatening them. And
Yeah.
we
Because
have
he finally did get her to like shut up and like
yeah.
sit still. But yeah, it was only because he threatened her.
And
And
then we
so
have
yeah, pretty dark.
the nun that we don't know her name, but she calls and she's talking to Mr. Sims. She's like, or no, not Mr. Sam. Sorry, Mr. Sims. She's talking to the other dude who, did you ever get his name when he was trying
Andy.
to, Andy, who is, calls Andy and she's like, hey, can I talk to Billy? And he's like, oh, he's not working up here anymore. He is the new Santa. And she's like, oh shit.
Yeah, she knows what's up
Yeah.
immediately.
Yeah. She's like,
And she's
crap.
just like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
And then he successfully makes it through a day of being Santa, and it makes it to 7 o'clock. And then it's time for them to have a little holiday office party get together. And they like start pouring shots and stuff. And Billy, Andy offered him alcohol earlier in the movie, and he was like, holds up his little milk box, and he's
Yeah.
like, no, I got my milk, like I'm good. And then you
It's
can
so
tell on Billy's
good.
face, whenever he drinks the alcohol for the first time, he's like, you're like,
Yeah.
this is not yummy.
And I am literally thinking like, oh no, like they're giving this boy alcohol for the first time and he's dressed as Santa and they keep triggering him. This is just a recipe for disaster. Like
Yeah.
he's going to get drunk off of like 3 swigs and like lose his mind.
Yep, and that's exactly what happens, because then asshole Andy starts stealing Billy's gal, Pamela,
Yeah.
who he was having the like dream about earlier. And he takes her back, and he's like, Billy's just watching them make out, which is like, how did they not notice? Because he's literally just standing at the end of the alleyway or aisle, just staring at them. And then drunk Mr. Sims comes up, and he is like, oh, you better get started. Go get him, Santa. Go get him. And I was like,
You know what
I don't
Santa
think
does
you
on
know what
Christmas
you're
Eve?
saying. Yeah. And I was like, I don't think you know what you're saying to this poor kid right now.
Like
Because
Billy's
his
understanding of
idea of go
Santa's
get him
job.
is, what Santa does, like, because he was like, oh, I know what Santa does on Christmas Eve. And it's like, ooh, that's not good. Not good for
And
y'all.
yeah, because Andy's back there with Pamela and Billy goes to the back and Andy's trying to take advantage of Pamela, which he does. And he like so gross takes her, pins her down and like, takes her top, rips her top sweater off. And she's like, got
Very
boobs
reminiscent of
exposed.
what happened to his mother. And then we also have Mr. Sims and the other lady singing the same song that was playing on the radio when his parents died.
So it's like all like coming back together circle, sending him into
Which
this
I
little...
never heard of like half of these Christmas carols that were in this film.
No, yeah, same. There were
so many of them that I was like, what is this song?
There was even some Christmas songs too that I was just like the fun ones, and there were some like ones that I was like, I've never heard that before ever.
Yeah, I've never heard like, and the one that's playing like this Santa's watching and shit, like never heard it. And I was
Maybe
like,
it
I
was
mean,
made
it's
just for the
really,
movie.
maybe it was.
Yeah.
Because it was really creepy and ominous. And it talked about being naughty a lot.
And it kind of escalates quickly because he breaks down and then goes and starts to get Andy off of Pamela. And at first, maybe she's thinking like, "Oh, yay, my hero! He's rescuing me." But he takes the Christmas lights, wraps them around Andy's neck, and very easily. But we do know, and Billy is very strong, but he like pulls him up, and I'm surprised
with one hand.
These lights even like they don't just like, I don't know, don't break or anything, but like it just like pulls him up and then he just chokes him out and then he kills him. And then
I was like, damn, Billy's strong.
And Pamela's like
the fact that it was all one hand is like insane to me.
Kind of hot. Sorry. But
yeah, no, it was.
And then Pamela's like, get away from me. Oh my God, no, like
you're psychopath.
Yeah. And he's like, oh, okay, well, because she slaps him or something. And then he's like, oh, no, you need to be punished too. And so he gets his knife and then just starts gutting her.
Yeah, just stabs it right in her tummy and like brings it up through the sternum, and then this is where we get a recollection / like an echo of Mother Superior when he says punishment is necessary. It is good.
Mhm. And she dies, of course, because he jammed a knife into her. What is that? Thorax? What is that? Your
Bosom
belly, your bosom. And then
into
we
her
come back
belly
to
button.
Mr. Sims and the lady, and they're like, huh, like we haven't seen the
Did
rest
I
of these
hear
people.
something?
Oh, that's what it is. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And so
And
Mr. Sims
she was
decides
like,
to go to
I
the
didn't
back.
hear nothing. But yeah, Mr. Sims was like, no, I for sure heard something.
Mhm. So he goes to the back and he is drunky, and so he's just like, you know, well, I don't remember what he was saying, but he was just being like, whatever, salacious. And then the
Yeah, at one
Bill,
point he like kind of turned around and was like, yoo-hoo.
yeah, like it was just being weird and then
Yeah.
funny and
I was
drunky.
like,
And then
what are you doing, sir?
Billy comes out, and then with the axe, just like, is it an axe or a hammer? It was a hammer. My
It was a
bad. It was a
hammer this
hammer.
time. And he
And
got
then
him
he
with
like
the
whacks him
remover
in the head.
side. Like not
Yeah,
the part that you hammer stuff in, but the side that you remove the nail with. So
yeah.
yeah. And I was like, ooh, damn. Cause you see him like you see the hammer raise up
Mm-hmm.
and then you see the blood spatter.
Mm-hmm.
And then later on we see his body, Mr.
With the
Sem's body laying there with the remover side like stuck in his skull.
Yeah,
I was
because
like,
that
ooh.
lady, the other worker, she comes back there looking for him because the lights kind of go off and she's yelling out for him. She goes back there, sees his body like that, freaks out, naturally, and then running through the store to get out. But Billy, of course, as she comes to the phone to try to call for help, cuts the phone line, and then he's chasing her around a little bit. She's able to like throw some boxes on him and get away from him for a little bit, and she grabs the axe to try to bust out, but she hesitates one like 5 seconds too long, and he shoots her with the fucking bow and arrow in the back.
Yeah, which I was like, they had real arrows in a toy shop.
Yeah, for real, right? It's the
But
70s though. It's the 80s, sorry, it's 84. So
84, yeah.
yeah,
So
so
who knows? But um yeah, it was
yeah.
pretty wild. Like, and he like starts like quoting "'Twas the Night Before Christmas" as he's stalking her and stuff,
Mhm.
which was the book he was reading in the car,
When they
like
got
when he was a little
murdered.
kid and stuff. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And so he's just bringing it all full circle.
Mhm.
Um, but he does shoot her with the arrow, and then he just picks up the keys and walks
Bounces.
out the building.
Yeah.
And then sister obviously knew something was up, so she swings by to find a gruesome scene
Mhm.
of everyone dead, and then is
Yeah.
like immediately goes to the police. And then we flash to some carolers again singing another song I've never heard of.
Is it time to reimagine your future? The right business skills may make a difference in your career. At Capella University, we offer a relevant education that's designed to focus on what you need to know in the business world. We'll teach professional skills to help you pursue your goals, like business management, strategic planning, and effective communication. And you can apply these skills right away. A different future is closer than you think with Capella University. Learn more at capella.edu.
This episode is brought to you by Etsy.
Oh.
Hear that?
Okay. Thank you.
Etsy knows these aren't the sounds of holiday gifting. Well, not the ones you're hoping for. You want squeals of delight. Happy tears.
How did you?
And spontaneously written songs of joy.
I am so happy. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah.
Okay, the song needs a bit of work, but anyway, to get those reactions, make sure everyone on your list feels heard with handmade, handpicked, and designed gifts from small shops on Etsy. Gifts like personalized jewelry, custom artwork, cozy style items, vintage pieces, and home decor to celebrate all of your favorite people and their specific kind of special. For original gifts that say, I get you, Etsy has it.
Something about
out in the
fireplaces
neighborhood.
warm and stuff. And then we flash to two kids doing it on a pool table. or like
Yeah.
about to get it
They're
on.
they're getting it on. We see some more boobies, and then they get interrupted because this little kid is like, "Hey, I want to see Santa," and she's like, "You need to go to bed because if you stay up, you're not gonna get your presents." So the little kid's like, "All right," and they're about to get it on, but they get interrupted again because um what's her name? I know her name. Denise hears a noise. So she
Yeah.
goes, and no, sorry. She hears the noise, which she thinks is the cat, his little bell. So
Yeah.
she wants to
Little
go bring
jingle
him
bell
in,
on his
and
necklace.
she
What's
wants
it
to go
called? A
bring him
collar.
in. And I guess it really is the 80s because she just like front door, like full titties out, like nothing.
I know. That was what I was like. I was like, she's just gonna open the door with her tits wide out in the like winter.
Yeah, for real. And so she lets the cat in, but as soon as the cat comes in, Billy's like right behind the cat and is like, "Oh," and then she's like, "Ah," and then he like
Yep.
starts chopping down the door. He gets in really easily, and then
Very very
The
Shining
Shining.
style.
Here's
Yeah.
Johnny, and he corners her in the living room and very easily just picks her up and puts her on it's a pretty horrific scene, like puts
Yeah,
her
I
on.
loved this scene. I thought it was so cool. I
Yeah.
was like, "Oh damn, is he gonna?" And then I was
Mhm.
like, "Yep, he
Yeah.
is."
What does he do, Caitlin? You since you
He
love it.
picks her up and he
Mhm.
impales her on the deer's horns. There was like
On
what is it
a
called? Like a
bus or
trophy? Yeah.
um, they're called
When
something,
they
aren't they? On the mantle,
yeah.
over the mantle, and they're just the heads.
Taxidermied bust.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
The heads.
Of a deer
And
and
it had these
a
huge old
rack.
antlers. Yeah. And she
And
just gets impales and it goes right through her tummy.
yeah, and it was pretty cool how you can how you saw the like two things like start protruding through her skin. The
Pretty
two
good
horns.
for the 80s.
Yeah, for the
Practical
80s, pretty good
effects.
practical effects.
Yeah. And
And then
uh,
at one point, the boy, I forgot his name. I called him Blondie.
yeah.
He was like, "I'm gonna kill her," and I was
Yeah.
like, "Nope,
He said it like at least
she's
3
gonna
times.
die."
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, and then he comes out because he's looking for her, and so he's like, "Oh shit!" As he realizes that like it looks like there was a break in, and so he like walks right by her essentially. It's like looks to me, but then finally sees her over his shoulder and is like, "Oh shit!"
and
And
then
sees
that's
her
when
body.
Billy
Yeah,
pops up
yeah, and
and
he kind
knocks
of
him back.
yeah, they have a good little tussle. They go back and forth a little bit, but
Yeah, he's fighting back
Billy.
with the fire poker. He like kicks him in the
Mhm.
nuts.
Yeah, he does almost have him for a little bit, but then Billy throws him through the window, and
Yeah,
this dude takes a big old shard of glass to the torso. So he's just kind of.
yeah, it was pretty wild. Like,
Mhm.
because I didn't think I was like, surely he survived that. But then later on, when we see his body, I was like, oh,
Yeah,
he's
I didn't think that
he's
glass would stay
dead, dead.
intact like that. You
Yeah,
know,
like that large of a shard because it
it's
looked like it shattered
the
pretty
80s.
intense.
That's what 80s
Yeah,
glass does. Just stays in big old shards in you.
and
But yeah,
in your
he's off.
forehead and in your stomach.
And
Um,
before Billy leaves, though, he gets seen by the little girl.
And I was like, "Oh, come on, don't kill the little girl." Because I was like, this movie's surely not above him killing a child at this point.
Right?
But
Thankfully, he asked
thankfully,
her if she's been nice or naughty, and she's like, I've been good," or something like that. Yeah.
yeah, he was like, "You haven't done anything naughty?" And she was like, "No." And he was like,
I
"Are
would
you
lie.
sure?" Yeah. Yeah.
Like, why
But
would she
then I was
say
worried,
yeah.
yeah, why would she be like, "No, I've been yeah, I've been bad."
Yeah.
Like, you
Bruh.
don't lie to I mean, but then Santa would know, but this isn't
Right.
Santa, so
Right? I don't know. But yes, and I'm thinking like, "Oh, he's about to give her this knife." And what does he do? He gives her that knife. And I'm
a
like,
little
"Oh,
box cutter.
he's framing her for these murders."
This little girl lifted Denise up onto the deer
She
rack,
did it. You
and
can't
she
tell
was
me she
like, "Ha,
didn't.
ha, 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 ha," and throws Blondie out the window. That's funny. But
And so
yeah, and then
then
this is when we see Blondie's body, and I was like, oh shit, that window got him fucked up. Like,
Yeah,
it was bad.
unfortunately, out for the count. And also too, I mean, it was really unfortunate for them because I think they're just basically like in the way on his way to getting to the orphanage. Like, I don't. It was pretty random. I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
on who these people were. At first, I was thinking like, oh, is
I
this like
mean,
his
they were
younger brother or
sinning.
something? They were
Yeah.
sinning. I was thinking it was his younger brother that he went looking for or something, but it wasn't though. And then
Yeah.
we cut to now the cops are all looking for Billy, who's out on the large because he's now killed more people and stuff. And we cut to this one Santa who is now by the orphanage, right? And this is where we have the Santa who's like coming to say hi to the kids.
Not quite.
Not quite. Okay.
We have the Santa climbing into the window.
Oh, the
And
window.
the
Yeah.
two police officers like, even if we bring him in, like the chief would just ask us to go back out and get the Easter bunny or something. And but they like storm into this family's house because they saw a Santa Claus coming in through a like second story window. So obviously that does seem suspicious.
Oh yeah, most certainly.
And they like go in, they find him up in the little girl's room and they draw their guns. And then the little girl's like, Daddy? And they're like, Daddy? And the mom's just like, yeah, motherfuckers. Like,
yeah, you just ruined our child's Santa experience forever now.
Yeah. And so they got the wrong Santa. And then we're with the two boys sledding.
That's right. And they're trying to sled, but they get like, these bullies come up and they're like, hey, we're going to steal your sleds. And they're like, really now? And they're like, yeah, and they do. And because they kind of beat them up.
They make him run off.
They take the sleds, but one goes down and then the other one's right behind him. But before he can get all the way down, Billy comes with his axe and chops his head off.
Chops the bully's head off while sledding. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, because his body comes and it just like freaks out the other dude because it's headless, and then his little head just comes rolling down.
Yeah, I was like, nice. That was a good kill. It was fun because I was like, aw, that's so cute. Little shark.
Finnicus. Anyways,
because he has fins.
This is what I was imagining. That's what his head did, rolling across the snow. Literally.
Yeah.
And it was like, what?
The other guy's like, ah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a pretty cool scene.
The other dude too was just like, like it was so funny.
Yeah,
like,
he was screaming like hardcore, which I mean, I would be too if my friend just got
Right?
murdered before my eyes.
And your head was just like rolling towards me.
Yeah, I'd be screaming.
I'd be like, what?
just my
I'd be
head.
like, how are your glasses still on?
They should have flown off. But yeah, so we find out now, like, because we're with the sister the next morning, and the head chief is like waking her up, and he's like, yeah, there's been 3 more murders. And he says the kid may be nuts, but he's not stupid. And she was like, yeah, no, he's not stupid. So then she was like, well, he's like, we might be able to predict his next move if we like know that this is based on some of his trauma. And so she was like, oh snap, he's going to the orphanage.
Immediately she recognizes, and so she lets him know that. And so then we cut to the orphanage and we see Mother Superior is still there. She's with the kiddos, and we cut to this one kid. She's like
stupid little kid.
Yeah, playing with her doll, and leaves the phone off the hook. And so they're trying to call the orphanage to like warn them of what's happening, but because the phone is off the hook, they can't get in touch with anybody. So the nun and the detective, sheriff, whoever it is, the captain, they're like, all right, we're gonna go, we can't wait any longer. So they are heading to the orphanage, but at the same time we have like the APB on the Santa. Excuse me. And whoa. And so then we have one cop who is driving around, and then he pulls a full like circle to go to the orphanage. And at the same time, we have this one Santa who's approaching the orphanage, and all the kids are like, "Oh my God, look who it is! Look who's coming!" And um, the Santa's walking closer, and I was even thinking like, well, I was kind of thinking in my head like, "There's no way it's him. Like, how could he have gotten there so fast?" But
Yeah, I mean, but it was the next morning.
right, and so then we have,
because I assume he worked in town, like not far away from the orphanage. But yeah, and I was also like, watch that not be Billy. And because yeah, Santa's rolling up, little kids are like, yay, Santa. And then this police officer like was calling for him to stop, and he wasn't stopping because we find out later he was deaf.
Yeah.
And he, or like at least hearing impaired, and couldn't hear him, so he shoots him dead. And we find out later that they killed Father O'Brien, the father. And the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
That's literally what I was thinking. And
they killed them all.
Then they killed them all. And so yeah, wrong Santa, unfortunately. And now another traumatizing experience for all these kids, as literally the one who had like his blood all over him splattered.
Yeah, I know. I was like, that's not good for those kids.
And so now we have all the kids inside. Everybody's kind of up to date, but not really, because Mother Superior is like, what's going on? Like, what are you talking? Like, what's happening? And he's just like, the other dude's gonna explain whenever he gets here, but I just need y'all to all be safe and inside. There's like, nobody should be able to get in here. There's a bad Santa on the loose, apparently. And then she's like kind of chastising him because obviously he shot the wrong person. And then
she's like, you killed him. How could you do that? Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And he was
just
like,
trying to help.
You don't understand. Yeah. And so he kind of locks all the kids in there. And then in order to like calm their nerves, because all the kids are like freaking out, Mother Superior has them sing carols. So they're singing like Deck the Halls and stuff. And then the police officer goes out and he's casing the place and like walking around the whole building, but it's clear that he's being watched.
Yeah.
Because we get some like first person POV like shots of watching him. And so it's like, yeah, this is not going to go well. Yeah. And then he sees the cellar door like moving.
Checks it out, goes in, and it's a very interesting setup, the way they have it. And he walks down there. Would think that someone's down there and someone's going to pop out and get him. But as he walks his way back up,
because the door blew wide open. So it seemed like, someone is in there.
Inside. As he walks back up and is right about to get out, Billy just gets him with the axe right in the chest.
Right
and he
tummy.
falls
Chest.
down, or right there, middle tummy, chest area.
Stern.
And stern. And the dude falls down. Wait, isn't that a boat? A stern? I said stern.
Stern.
Yeah, my
sternum.
Bad. The sternum. And so then he falls onto his bow. No, I'm just kidding. And then he ends up hitting the poop deck, and he is dead. And
we've got an officer down, and now Billy's is loose on the orphanage.
Yes, Billy goes in, and he is knocking at the door, and one of the kids recognizes the Santa, and I guess Mother Superior is facing. Oh, Mother Superior is also now in a wheelchair, so she's facing the other direction, so she can't see who's at the door. And so the little kid goes to open it up for Santa, and before it's they couldn't even do anything, it's too late, and Billy's walking in.
Yep, and got one of the little kids. He's hiding the axe behind his back. One of the little kids like on holding his shoulder and stuff, and the other little girl's like, Santa. And Mother Superior's like, get back. This is not good. And she's like, but it's Santa. And so but he is just she finally successfully gets the kids away from him, and then he's just about to raise the axe on her, and he was like, die.
Yeah.
And was like raising the axe whenever he gets shot in the back. And so these poor kids watched 2 Santas die today in one day. And I was like, these kids are gonna be fucked up.
Yeah, because he like gets shot, goes down, and is having his moment as he's dying. Because then the other
Yeah,
nun
because sister
is
is
like
holding him.
around him. Yeah, and then he looks over to the kids and he's just like, "It's okay, you're safe now. Santa's gone."
Santa Claus is gone. And
Yeah.
then we like pan up to this little boy who's just sitting there like watching the dead body. And then Mother Superior says something and he just goes, naughty.
Mm-hmm. And then we just
And
get
then it's
Silent
roll
Night and
credit.
it's roll credit. Yeah.
So you
And
can
that's the
assume
end.
that this other little boy's got a whole bunch of unresolved and like trauma that's gonna get just buried. And he's gonna be, I think, the next killer, because there is a Silent Night, Deadly Night too.
Oh, there is?
Mm-hmm.
Ah, there you go. Well, probably. It's giving that because it did set it up.
Yeah. So I think that's what happens to make the second one. I don't know. Haven't seen it, but that would be the most obvious.
Hey, it's Bill Simmons from the Bill Simmons Podcast here to tell you about Michelob Ultra Courtside. It's getting fans closer to the NBA with a chance to win prizes like courtside seats, a trip to All-Star Weekend, and much more. Check it out at MichelobUltra.com/courtside. Michelob Ultra Superior Access, Courtside 24-25 sweepstakes, no purchase necessary. Open to U.S. residents 21 and up. Begins on October 1st, 2024. Ends July 1st, 2025. Multiple entry periods. Visit MichelobUltra.com/courtside for free entry deadlines, and official rules. Message and data rates may apply. Void where prohibited.
This episode is brought to you by Skinny Pop Popcorn. Perfectly popped, endlessly delicious. Oh, so light and crunchy. Skinny Pop Original Popcorn is the snack you've been searching for. Made with just 3 simple ingredients: popcorn kernels, sunflower oil, and salt. Snacking never felt or tasted so good. Perfectly popped, endlessly delicious. Give yourself permission to snack and pick up Skinny Pop Original Popcorn today.
Or it could be like, or they could do like a origin story of like what even that killer, the first guy, came from. They probably didn't do that and would never do that, but like the thief or whatever, I don't know.
Oh yeah, the original Santa who killed his parents.
Like an explanation, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. So that's the end of Silent Night, Deadly Night, and it is. Are you ready? Let's just go right into the ratings.
Boo ratings, yeah.
Boo ratings. Okay. So I'm trying to think. Like it wasn't a bad movie, but it wasn't necessarily like the best movie per se. I'd say like it was honestly more kind of sad overall when I think about it, because it just feels like, unfortunately this poor kid got the shitty end of the stick because like nobody cared about him, nobody cared to care for him, nobody cared to even explain to him what even happened to him. So I don't know. Overall, if I were to think about it, even like it's good storytelling. I like that it was really like the pacing was really like right to the point. We even time jumped somehow years, but yet it was still like a short film. So I was kind of like 2.5. No,
2.5?
no. I'll give it a 3. I'll give it a 3, especially because it's a Christmas movie, one, and it is hard to make. I feel like a Christmas horror movie. You know what I mean? Because there's not really much that you can go into. I feel like, but I feel like this really did give it other layers with giving us like this, kid who essentially had this really traumatic experience happen to him, and then yeah, it kind of set it up kind of perfect by creating the storm, giving him this like almost like road of which to like get to the point where he did, and then create essentially like, you know, it's like one of those things where it was a self-fulfilling prophecy. Like the grandpa started this little story with him that wasn't true, and he ended up becoming what it was that he was afraid of the whole time, essentially. So it's smart, and I can respect it. And the kills were really cool. That antler kill scene was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was probably my
and
favorite one.
his hairy butt, that was a pretty good scene for me, honestly.
Love a good hairy butt.
We love a good hairy butt. So yeah, I'll give it a 3. It didn't like, I don't know. It didn't like, oh my god, like why haven't I seen this ever in my life before? But it also, I didn't hate it, and I didn't like think it was bad. And I thought, like, given like I'm curious to see, like, the budget on it, because I was like, for what seems like a movie that they didn't have to spend too much money to make, like they did pretty good. Like, okay, they spent $750,000 on it. It's pretty modest, like low budget for a film.
Mm-hmm.
So they were able to do, I feel like, a lot with what little they had, I guess. And the actors, everybody did pretty good, like for the material.
Yeah, the acting didn't feel very forced at all.
Mother Superior was a fucking cunt, and I hated her. So
yeah,
that actress did great.
Job of being evil.
Billy gave a really good, like, tortured soul, stoic, like mysterious type of vibe. So,
and even little Billy's did a great job acting.
The first Billy, he was really good little actor. Yeah.
Second Billy was a good, like,
traumatized kid,
traumatized, in pain kid.
Yeah,
just scared
very
for his life.
I honestly really also respect that, like, it was just straight to the point. Like, it just like gave us like what we needed to know.
Yeah.
I
agree.
And there was also a bit of like it levied itself with some comedic moments, and like some, like, when they're, Mr. Sims, kind of his whole vibe, and like the store situations, I guess. Yeah, I liked Crazy Grandpa. Crazy Grandpa was pretty cool. But yeah, all right, solid 3. That's it. All right. Do you have any fun facts?
Fun facts. Yes, I do. The release of this film was picketed by angry parents who are not happy to see Santa Claus depicted as an axe murderer, despite the fact that Tales from the Crypt, 1972, had done the same exact thing 12 years prior, and Christmas Evil from 1980 had also done the same exact thing 4 years prior. As a result, the box office receipts plummeted once the film was pulled from theaters after barely 2 weeks. So it was pulled from theaters. The film was then shelved for another year before it was released on VHS Uncut, which has since gone out of print.
That's crazy, because didn't Black Christmas come out like before this film? Like, when we covered that one, didn't we?
Yeah. I don't remember when it came out, but yeah, I think it was something in the 70s.
74. Yeah. But parents
but
who have a problem.
Was Black Christmas like a Santa Claus?
I guess Santa Claus wasn't necessarily depicted. No, it wasn't Santa doing the murdering. It was just a crazy guy who escaped on Christmas who was doing the murdering. Yeah.
Murdering, yeah.
So I guess that's not necessarily the same, but
still.
I mean, yeah.
It opened on the same weekend as A Nightmare on Elm Street, 1984, and briefly outgrossed it by around 161,800. Is that how you'd say that? As this film was playing in more than twice as many theaters as Nightmare. By the second weekend, sales dropped by about 45%. So it briefly did better than Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah, probably because not as many theaters were playing Nightmare on Elm Street, because they already knew like Nightmare on Elm Street was gonna be more horrific or gory or scary. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
If this one was playing in more theaters, I don't know. Maybe because they were like, "Oh, it's a Christmas movie. It's not that. It shouldn't be that bad. It could be played in more theaters."
Yeah.
But I don't know.
The film was known as Sleigh Ride throughout its production. TriStar decided to change the title to Silent Night, Deadly Night at the last minute, which I think was a good move on their part.
Yeah, Sleigh Ride. They might have been able to like get it into more theaters, like Sleigh Ride. But overall, Silent Night, Deadly Night is a pretty cool name.
Yeah, it is. I texted Andrew that we watched it, and he was like, "That's a dope name," and I was like, "Yeah, it is." Let's see. The group formed to protest the film and lobby for it to be removed from theaters was called Citizens Against Movie Madness.
Beautiful.
So they're the ones who protested it. And then lastly, in an interview from the documentary Going to Pieces, The Rise and Fall of the Slasher Film, 2006, Lillian Chauvin, who played Mother Superior, admitted that it was a mistake to center the film's publicity campaign on Santa Claus and believed it would have generated far less controversy if the studio instead focused on Billy's psychological plight. Also, in a story by People's Magazine from November 1984, Robert Brian Wilson, who played Billy at age 18, said he felt so ashamed by the controversy that he told his friends and family to avoid seeing the film. Years later, after attending a 30th anniversary screening and meeting with his fans, he reversed his stance. Wilson has since made appearances at horror conventions and given interviews about his work on the film.
That's cool. I'm glad he was able to come around to it. Since people do. People always get their, their knickers in a twist when something kind of like that pops up, especially certain groups. Not everybody, though. But that's sad that like people literally made him feel that like ashamed about his work.
Yeah.
Because of why?
He did a great job.
Because of his hairy ass?
Because of his hairy ass. That was the whole reason. But yeah, so that is the fun facts I got for Silent Night, Deadly Night. I think I would personally give this film probably a like 3.5. I kind of liked it.
Yeah, it was good. It was good for a Christmas Santa slasher movie. Like, there's not like there's many of those. And
yeah, and I mean, we haven't watched Christmas Evil yet, right?
Mm-mm.
Even though it says it does the same exact thing, and it came out only 4 years prior, and also Tales from the Crypt. But I think it had a really good storyline that, like, a lot of Christmas slasher movies don't really have like a point behind them.
Yeah.
And this one did. Like, it gave us all, like you said earlier, it gave us all the things that we needed to know. And it, I think, really laid out Billy's backstory really well. And it's just a very sad and unfortunate turn of events that happened to lead to this massacre. But I think it's still like, I mean, it doesn't excuse his killing by any means.
No.
But it still was like a really interesting like backstory, and like had anyone paid attention, it could have been prevented.
Mm-hmm.
And and then like we said, oh, sorry.
No, it's like they should play this movie for like social workers who are like just coming into the field and be like, this could be what happens if you do not make sure that our children are okay.
It's like a worst case scenario. Yeah, they should. Because it really was just a series of unfortunate events. And like, had things gone at all slightly differently, like if sister would have like put her foot down to Mother Superior, which I know like probably she couldn't do that, but maybe this whole thing could have been avoided and we wouldn't have had a film. So obviously we needed the turn of events to go the way that they did in order to get a slasher. But and then like we said earlier, all the acting I thought was really good. And I didn't have an issue with anyone's performance. I thought like the little kids, I thought Billy, I thought everyone did a great job of performing and portraying a like in Billy's case, a very tormented adult.
Yeah.
Who has just had this like unfortunate circumstances in his life that, led to him being a mass murderer. And,
and
I just thought it was a good Christmas movie.
Yeah. And the tipping point too is even like them putting him in the Santa outfit. Like at that,
Yeah,
like,
that was just twisted.
Well, they were basically asking for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
At that point.
Definitely.
So what else can you do? But either it's like they were throwing him in the deep end but like, without telling him and
how to swim, and he's just like
yeah, and without a safety plan. But yeah, that is
Yeah.
1984's Silent Night, Deadly Night. And what is there anything else that we want to add to that one?
Oh, no, solid 3.25.
And then
from your BooBaes.
Yeah.
Silent Night, Deadly Night. I would recommend this film. If you haven't seen it, I mean, just be prepared to be really depressed.
Put it on during a Christmas party in the background.
Yeah, so that way all of your viewers and party goers can be really sad.
Mm-hmm. Or traumatized.
Talk about the true horrors of Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Mental health, which is so many people struggle with during the holidays. So
this is true.
If you're struggling, reach out to someone. It's easier said than done.
Very much so. But like always, like you were about to say, we're not in the lovely Rogue Media Network studios, but we are being brought to you by their lovely productions. And we are on their what's that called? A website. And that is roguemedianetwork.com. And you can find us there with a bunch of other cool, really awesome podcasts. There's like everything on there. So you could find a podcast for you, for your mom, for your dad, or all the other 12 other interests you have. And yeah, what else can they do, Caitlin?
You can listen to us and all those other amazing podcasts on a slew of podcasting platforms, but the biggest two would be
Spotify
and also Apple. But wherever you do listen, don't forget to
rate, review, like, and subscribe.
That's right, because that is the only way we can get ahead in this world. And then if you want to reach out to us, let us know your thoughts on Silent Night, Deadly Night. If you have seen this film, if you can watch it for free on YouTube, the full movie without ads.
Literally.
There were no ads.
And I thought it was going to be like how sometimes they're like cropped in a weird way where you don't get the full picture, or it's like
it was a good
because they cut out like 2 minutes, but no.
No, it was a good film, and to watch it for free like on YouTube, I would highly recommend it.
Only an hour and 24 minutes, so
yeah, it's not long. But yeah, you can let us know your thoughts on Silent Night, Deadly Night, or let us know what other Christmas horror movies you want us to cover by reaching out to us on our one social media platform, which is Instagram, and that is at
BOOBAES podcast, because we're your BooBaes, not your BooBabes.
That's right. And what film are we covering next? Do you want to do one of the two that you sent me? I chose this one because it was referenced in Terrifier 3. And
which
so
I wish
apparently Terrifier 3 referenced like 18 movies, and
this is one of them,
like including The Shining, but Silent Night, Deadly Night was one of them. And so I was like, oh, cool. Well, I was like, it must be pretty good.
We can. Yeah, I'm sad that we because this will come out if we time it. Let's see. Are we doing this right now? Let's see. If this comes out this week, and because it would be so meow meow meow. I got the meow meows. That's what me and Jaden say when we have the meow meows.
Meow meows.
You got the meow meows, or
my kitties are so sick of my meow meows.
So yeah, let's figure this out here in a second before we take like 10 minutes here on air. But yes, we are going to figure out what we're covering for you guys.
Yeah, and so we'll figure that out and let y'all know. But yeah, I posted a little sneak peek of which film we were covering today on our Instagram, asking what y'all thought it was. I don't know if we've gotten any responses yet. I haven't checked, but probably not. But
we have 1 million responses. What are you talking about?
1 million. Everyone was like, "Oh my God, it's Silent Night, Deadly Night. I know this one." I just said that it was a PTSD, like undiagnosed or untreated PTSD fueled nightmare. But yeah, we'll let you guys know what we're going to be covering next, and then definitely slide into our DMs. Let us know what you think we should cover next, and we will take it into consideration. We also did just get another listener request from an old listener, Brittany.
Yay. Okay, awesome. Thank you, Brittany. What was?
But it's not a Christmas movie.
Okay.
She asked if we had covered Talk to Me, which I was like, yes, we have covered that one. And then the other one was Tarot.
Oh yeah, I've heard of that one. I haven't seen it yet, though.
Yeah, I've heard of it. I haven't seen it either.
Okay, well, we'll have to check it out.
So I told her that we would definitely look into it, like do it. So
yeah.
But yeah, so awesome.
Awesome, guys. Well, until next time.
Until next time, you guys. Bye, baes.
Bye.
BooBaes.
This has been a Rogue Media Network production.